the plane that shouldn't exist, and somehow changed. Wore forever. The wrong shape. If you didn't know what this was, you'd assume it was broken. No curves, no smooth wings, just sharp angles stitched together like a bad origami project. It doesn't look fast, it doesn't look strong, and it definitely doesn't look like something meant to survive combat. And yet, this aircraft slipped through the most advanced defenses on Earth, struck targets no one else could touch, and left enemies staring at empty radar screens, wondering what went wrong. This is the story of the F-117 Nighthawk, a plane that looks like a mistake because it was designed to be one. Breaking aviation for decades, aircraft designers followed the same rules. Smooth shapes, swept wings, graceful curves that sliced cleanly through the air. Radar was treated as an afterthought. Speed and altitude were the answers. But in the 1970s, something uncomfortable became obvious. Radar was getting better. Missiles were getting smarter. And no matter how fast you flew, you were still visible. So a small group of engineers asked a dangerous question. What if we stopped trying to outrun radar and instead made a plane radar that couldn't understand? Not avoid, not jam, confuse. The math no one wanted. Radar doesn't see airplanes the way humans do. It doesn't care about beauty. It doesn't care about symmetry. It only listens for echoes. So the engineers dug into obscure Soviet research. Equations that described how radio waves bounced off flat surfaces. The math said something unbelievable. If you built an aircraft out of flat panels and angled them just right, radar energy wouldn't bounce back. It would scatter, disappear. The problem? That shape would be an aerodynamic nightmare. A plane that actively did not want to fly. Building the unflyable. The first models looked absurd. More crystal than aircraft. Edges everywhere. No curves at all. Wind tunnel tests confirmed the fear. It was unstable in almost every direction. A normal pilot wouldn't last seconds, so the engineers cheated. They gave the plane a brain. Early computers, like slow, fragile, primitive, constantly corrected the aircraft, making tiny adjustments hundreds of times per second. Without them, the F-117 would fall out of the sky. With them, it became controllable. Barely. Secrets in the desert. The flights happened at night. Always at night. Pilots trained in total darkness, flying something no one could photograph, discuss, or even acknowledge existed. Crashes happened. Mistakes happened. When one went down, it was quietly buried, literally. No headlines, no explanations. The aircraft wasn't even called a fighter. That would raise questions. So it was labeled an attack aircraft. A lie hiding another lie. The moment of truth. Then came war. Air defenses scanned the skies. Missile batteries waited. And the radar screens stayed silent. The F-117 passed straight through. Bombs fell with surgical precision. Targets were destroyed without warning, without pursuit, without response. Enemy operators didn't know what failed. Their equipment worked. Their procedures were correct. There was just nothing there. The plane didn't overpower defenses. It ignored them. The strange aftermath. The shock didn't last long. Once the secret was out, the world adjusted. Stealth became expected. Facets gave way to curves. Computers grew powerful enough to calculate smooth invisibility. The F-117 was retired quietly. No dogfights, no final mission. Just parked and forgotten by the public. The real legacy. The F-117 wasn't beautiful. It wasn't fast. It wasn't even particularly reliable, but it proved something terrifying. That wars aren't always won by stronger weapons, but by seeing the battlefield differently. And sometimes, the shape that looks the most wrong is the one that changes everything.